There are moments in history when the tide of destiny can no longer be held back by human hands, when the plans of men are outmatched by the purposes of God. We are living in such a moment right now. Something is coming for America, something unstoppable, something that no power, no politician, no government, and no media narrative can control. This is not a message of fear. It is a message of awakening, because what is coming is not meant to destroy, but to reveal. It will expose what has been hidden, bring to light what has been covered, and separate what is true from what is false. America stands at the edge of a divine confrontation, not between left and right, but between truth and deception, between humility and pride, between light and darkness. For generations, America was blessed beyond measure. Her land flowed with opportunity, her people were guided by faith, and her principles were rooted in a moral foundation that pointed toward God. But somewhere along the road, the nation began to lose sight of the giver of its blessings. Comfort replaced conviction. Entertainment replaced enlightenment. And the truth, the very truth that once gave this nation its strength, became inconvenient. But truth never dies. It waits, and when nations forget, truth shakes them awake. You can feel the shaking now, in the unrest of cities, in the confusion of leaders, in the chaos of culture, and even in the hearts of ordinary people who sense that something is changing. This shaking is not random. It is not just politics or economics. It is spiritual. It is the sound of God rearranging a nation that has drifted too far from its purpose. What's coming is unstoppable because it is not born from man. It is born from eternity. It is a wave that will test every foundation, families, churches, schools, corporations, and government. Every system that was built on deception will fall, and every structure built on truth will stand. That's not a threat. That's a promise written into the moral fabric of the universe. Whatever is false must fail. Whatever is true must prevail. Some look at America today and see only division, anger, and decay. But I see something deeper. I see a pruning, a divine pruning. When a gardener cuts back a tree, it looks painful. It looks destructive. But in reality, that cutting is preparation for greater fruit. America is being pruned, not punished. She is being stripped down to her roots so that she might remember who she really is. The coming storm is not to destroy America's body. It is to heal her soul, and healing often begins with pain. Look at history. Every great revival was born from crisis. Every awakening began in darkness. The fire that purifies always follows the flood that tests. When Israel wandered in rebellion, it wasn't the end, it was preparation for renewal. When Rome tried to crush the early church, it only grew stronger. When nations have fallen into corruption and confusion, God has always raised up voices, prophets, leaders, dreamers, who would not bow to fear. And so it will be again. A new generation is rising, not bound by the failures of the past, not intimidated by the powers of the present. They are voices of clarity in a world of confusion. They do not chase approval, they chase purpose. They do not seek fame, they seek faith. And while the systems of men crumble, this generation will stand on foundations that cannot be shaken. But make no mistake, this coming move will shake everyone. The comfortable will be uncomfortable. The silent will be forced to speak. The corrupt will be exposed. And those who have built their identities on temporary things will watch them fade away. But those who have anchored their lives in truth, integrity, and compassion will rise stronger than ever before. Because unstoppable doesn't mean uncontrollable chaos. It means divinely ordered destiny. There is a rhythm to God's timing. When He moves, He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't wait for votes, polls, or public approval. He moves when truth demands action. And the truth about America is that she was founded on spiritual principles, that liberty is not a political right, it's a divine trust. Freedom without morality is chaos. Morality without faith is hypocrisy. America's survival will not depend on her weapons, her wealth, or her wisdom. It will depend on her worship, on whether she remembers the source of her strength. We have tried to fix moral problems with political solutions. We've tried to heal spiritual sickness with social reforms. But now we stand in a moment where only repentance can rebuild, only humility can heal, and only faith can save. The unstoppable thing coming for America is not merely judgment, it's justice, it's balance, it's the restoration of order in a world gone mad. Every lie that's been told will face truth. Every injustice ignored will meet its reckoning. Every hidden agenda will be dragged into the light. It will not happen overnight, but it will happen. Many will resist it. Many will mock it. Many will try to silence it. But truth doesn't negotiate. Truth doesn't fear debate. Truth doesn't bend to trends. Truth stands quietly, firmly, unshaken, until everything that opposes it exhausts itself. And in that silence that follows, when the noise of division finally fades, America will have a choice: to rebuild on the same cracked foundation, or to return to the rock that never moves. But here's the hope. The unstoppable force that's coming isn't only the shaking. It's also the rising. A rising of courage, conviction, and compassion like this generation has never seen. People will begin to hunger for meaning again, not just money. They will crave authenticity more than entertainment. They will look for leaders who serve, not perform. And when the show of false greatness collapses, true greatness, humble, moral, servant-hearted greatness will reappear. You can already see the signs. Young people questioning the lies of culture. Parents waking up to what's being taught to their children. Communities standing up for integrity. Churches returning to the basics of faith instead of the politics of power. These are not random acts, they are tremors before the awakening. Yes, America will go through trials. Yes, there will be confusion, loss, and fear. But after the shaking comes clarity. After the storm comes rebuilding. After the pruning comes fruit. And that fruit will be righteousness, unity, and renewal. The unstoppable thing that's coming will not destroy America. It will redefine her. There's a verse that says, "Everything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain." That's not just prophecy. That's principle. And America is about to learn it in the most powerful way. The systems of greed, corruption, and deception will crumble. But faith, family, courage, and truth will remain. And you, the people, will be the carriers of that light. Don't wait for leaders to fix what's broken. Don't wait for elections to change what hearts have corrupted. Change begins in the soul of one person who dares to say, "I will live by truth even if the world mocks me for it." When enough people live that way, nations shift, empires fall, darkness trembles, because the real power of America was never in her military might or her money. It was in her moral vision. It was in her people who believed that character mattered, that right and wrong were not opinions but principles, that freedom came with responsibility, and that faith was not weakness but wisdom. That's what made America unstoppable once, And that's what will make her unstoppable again. The days ahead will test every heart. There will be fear, confusion, and conflict. But for those who understand the deeper story, there will also be peace, because they will know that this is not the end. It's a rebirth, a refining fire that will burn away the false and reveal the true. When the smoke clears, the world will not see a fallen America. They will see a humbled, purified America. A nation that has rediscovered its purpose not in pride, but in promise. You see, the most powerful movements in history never started in palaces or parliaments. They started in hearts, in people who refused to surrender to despair. The same will be true again. The unstoppable force coming for America will not begin in Washington or Wall Street. It will begin in living rooms, in prayer meetings, in small acts of kindness, in voices that refuse to stay silent. And though the headlines will scream chaos, the heavens will whisper hope. I am not finished with you yet. So don't fear the shaking, embrace it. Don't curse the darkness. Light a candle. Don't run from truth. Run toward it. Because the truth is not your enemy, it's your deliverance. The unstoppable thing coming for America is a divine reset, a collision between illusion and reality, between human arrogance and heavenly order. And when it's over, the only things left standing will be those built on faith, love, and truth. So prepare your heart, prepare your home, prepare your mind, because what's coming is not a storm to destroy, it's a wind to awaken. There will be those who lose everything but gain peace. There will be those who seem to win everything but lose their souls. Choose wisely which side of history you stand on, because neutrality is not an option anymore. Silence is not safety anymore. Every soul will have to decide, will I stand with truth, or will I sink with deception? When the time comes, remember this. No matter how dark it gets, darkness never wins. It only delays the dawn, and the dawn that's coming will be brighter than anything this nation has seen in generations. Because what's coming for America is unstoppable, not because it's powerful in itself, but because it's aligned with destiny. Destiny doesn't yield to politics, or propaganda, or pride. It fulfills itself in time, in truth, and in the lives of those who dare to believe that renewal is still possible. The trials coming to America are not punishments, but awakenings, a divine call to rediscover truth, unity, and moral courage. So many people today see only the surface, the chaos, the division, the uncertainty, and they assume that the nation is collapsing. But what if it's not collapsing at all? What if it's awakening? What if the shaking we feel is not the sound of destruction, but the sound of foundations being relaid? What if these trials are not God turning away from America, but God turning America back toward himself? You see, every nation that drifts too far from truth will eventually be called to account, not out of wrath, but out of love. Because love will not stand by and let deception destroy. Love will interrupt. Love will confront. Love will shake what must be shaken, so that what is eternal can stand again. That's what this moment is. A divine interruption. These trials, the confusion in leadership, the division among people, the erosion of moral standards, they are mirrors reflecting what we have allowed to grow inside our hearts. They are not external enemies alone. They are internal awakenings. God is showing us who we've become so that we might remember who we were meant to be. For too long, Truth has been traded for convenience. We've built comfort zones out of compromise, calling them progress. We've silenced conviction in the name of tolerance, forgetting that tolerance without truth leads to chaos. We've divided ourselves into tribes, political, racial, ideological, forgetting that unity is not the absence of difference, but the presence of shared purpose. And now, the trials that come are forcing us to face these uncomfortable realities. They are stripping away our illusions one by one until only the essential remains: truth, unity, and moral courage. Truth, because without it we are lost. Lies can entertain, they can comfort, they can even unite for a time, but they cannot sustain. Every empire built on deception has fallen. Every culture that mocked morality has rotted from within. Truth is not optional. It is oxygen for the soul of a nation. And America must breathe again. Unity, because a house divided cannot stand. But unity doesn't come from pretending we agree. It comes from remembering what matters more than what divides us. We were never meant to be a nation of perfect people, but of purposeful people. Diverse, yes, but devoted to the same vision. Liberty under God, justice for all, compassion for the broken, and dignity for every human soul, and moral courage, because truth and unity mean nothing if no one is brave enough to live them out. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to do what's right even when it's hard. America does not need more comfort. She needs more courage. She needs men and women who will speak truth when it's unpopular, who will stand for justice when it costs them, who will love their enemies when hate is easier. That's why these trials are coming, to rebuild the moral backbone of a people who have forgotten how strong they really are. Adversity doesn't weaken the righteous, it refines them. Hard times don't destroy the faithful, they define them. So don't mistake discipline for destruction. Don't confuse correction with condemnation. This is not a curse, it's a calling. A calling for America to wake up from her sleep, to remember her covenant, to rise again as a beacon not of arrogance but of hope. Because what if the true purpose of these trials is not to make America smaller, but stronger, not to humiliate her, but to humble her so that she can once again lead, not by power, but by principle. Every storm has a reason, every test has a lesson, and this lesson is clear. It's time to return to what is real. It's time to rediscover the sacred value of truth, the healing power of unity, and the unstoppable force of moral courage. So, when you see the shaking, don't fear it, listen to it. It's the sound of awakening. It's the voice of destiny whispering, come back. Come back to who you were. Come back to what matters. Come back to the heart that made you great. These trials are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to rebuild, to repent, to rise. And if America answers that call, then the fire that burns through her now will not consume her. It will cleanse her. It will forge a new strength, a deeper unity, a bolder faith. Because every great awakening begins not in comfort, but in crisis. What's coming is unstoppable because it is not merely political or economic. It is spiritual, destined to separate light from darkness. Too many people look at the signs of the times and think that what's happening in America is only about elections, policies, or parties. They see arguments on television, protests in the streets, divisions online, and they think it's just politics. But what's unfolding goes far deeper than what any human hand has written. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. It is not a clash between Democrats and Republicans, rich and poor, left and right. It is a confrontation between the eternal forces of truth and deception, between good and evil, between light and darkness. That's why it cannot be stopped, because it is spiritual in its essence, not physical. You can silence a man, but you cannot silence a movement birthed in heaven. You can censor truth for a season, but you cannot erase the author of that truth. You can delay justice, but you cannot deny it forever. What's coming for America is not a human revolution. It is a spiritual reckoning. This is why the systems of man are trembling. Every institution, every ideology, every structure built on pride or corruption is beginning to crack. Because light and darkness cannot coexist forever. One must give way to the other. And this is the hour of revealing, when everything hidden will be exposed, when motives will be laid bare, when the masks will fall and hearts will be seen for what they truly are. This separation is not meant to divide people, it's meant to define them, to draw a clear line between those who serve truth and those who serve illusion, between those who walk in humility and those who walk in arrogance, between those who build for eternity and those who chase the temporary. You can feel it everywhere, a growing tension, like a string stretched to its limit. That's not random. That's the friction between two realities. The kingdom of light rising and the kingdom of darkness resisting. And no matter how strong the resistance, light always wins. Darkness is not the equal opposite of light. It is the absence of it. The moment light appears, darkness loses its power. This unstoppable movement is not coming to destroy, but to reveal. It will expose corruption not just in politics, but in hearts. It will call out hypocrisy not just in leaders, but in believers. It will shake every false altar, the altars of greed, pride, entertainment, and self-worship, until only truth remains standing. Because truth is not a theory, it's a force, and once it's released, nothing can stop it. You see, America has tried to fix spiritual problems with political solutions, and it has failed. We have tried to fill moral emptiness with material abundance, and it has failed. We have tried to replace the presence of God with the pursuit of pleasure, and it has failed. And now, what's coming will strip away every false substitute. It will force us to look beyond the temporary and see the eternal again. It will be uncomfortable because exposure always is. When the light shines, it reveals both beauty and blemish. But this revelation is mercy, not wrath. It is grace disguised as disruption. It is God saying, I will not let you destroy yourself in darkness. I will not let you live in lies any longer. I will reveal what you cannot see so that you may become who you are meant to be. That's why this movement cannot be stopped by laws, elections, or policies. Because what's coming isn't about who holds office. It's about who holds the heart. It's about the unseen realm governing the seen, the invisible shaping the visible, the spiritual transforming the physical. And when spiritual truth begins to move, the natural world must respond. History proves it. Every revival that changed a nation began not with politics, but with prayer. Not with power, but with repentance. Not with noise, but with conviction. And once that conviction took hold, nothing, no army, no government, no empire could stop it. That's where America stands today, on the edge of an unstoppable spiritual shift. A purification that will touch every level of society, from the home to the halls of power. It will not always look pretty. In fact, it will often look chaotic. But what you're seeing is not chaos, it's cleansing. The breaking of one system to make way for another. The shaking of foundations that were never meant to last. And through it all, God is not silent. He is moving behind the scenes, orchestrating what no one can fully see. While the world debates headlines, heaven is writing history. So don't be deceived by appearances. The political storms, the cultural battles, the economic shakings, they are symptoms, not the source. The real war is spiritual, and it has already been decided. Light will win, truth will stand, justice will rise. The question is not whether the victory will come. It's whether we will stand on the right side of it. And to stand there requires courage, moral courage, spiritual courage, the kind that refuses to compromise even when the crowd demands it. Because the days ahead will challenge everything you believe. The noise will grow louder. The lies will grow bolder. And yet through it all a still small voice will whisper, "Do not be afraid, stand firm, the battle is mine." That's why it's unstoppable, because it's not powered by human hands. It's powered by truth itself. You cannot legislate it, silence it, or control it. You can only align with it or resist it. And those who align with it will find strength they never knew they had, peace they cannot explain, and purpose they cannot deny. For in this divine separation, this refining fire between light and darkness, America will rediscover its soul. The false will fade, the true will shine. The darkness that once seemed overwhelming will tremble at the dawn that's breaking. Because this is not just a shift in culture, it's a shift in the spirit. And what's coming is unstoppable. Not because it's violent, but because it's inevitable. Not because it's forced, but because it's destined. The light always wins. Truth always endures. And every time darkness thinks it has triumphed, it discovers once again that resurrection follows crucifixion. America's greatest revival will rise from its greatest shaking. The test ahead will refine rather than destroy her soul. Every shaking has a purpose. When the earth trembles, it is not only to break, but to awaken. And though the coming days may look like the breaking of a nation, they are, in truth, the birthing pains of renewal. The shaking that America will face is not her ending. It is her cleansing. It is the sound of chains being broken and foundations being tested so that what remains will be pure, unshakable, and eternal. Throughout history, every true revival has been born out of struggle. The greatest light always breaks forth from the deepest darkness. When nations reach their lowest point, when hope seems lost, when truth is mocked, when faith is forgotten, that is often when heaven intervenes. Because God never wastes a crisis. He uses it. He turns ashes into altars, tears into testimonies, and shaking into strength. So, what's ahead for America is not destruction, it is refinement. Fire will come, but not to consume. It will come to purify. The pressure will increase, but not to crush. It will come to shape and prepare. Like gold in the furnace, America's soul is about to be tested, melted down, and refined until the impurities rise to the surface, and the reflection of righteousness appears again. Yes, the shaking will be severe. It will expose hypocrisy in high places. It will challenge the comfort of the complacent. It will bring down idols of pride and lift up voices of humility. It will silence the arrogant and awaken the humble. But through it all, something divine will rise, something ancient, something powerful, something unstoppable. Revival. It will not begin with headlines. It will not start with politicians or celebrities. It will begin quietly in living rooms, in small churches, in families praying together again. It will begin with hearts that are broken enough to bow and desperate enough to believe. It will begin with ordinary people who are tired of the noise and ready for truth. And when it comes, it will spread like wildfire, not through programs, but through people, not through manipulation, but through conviction, not through power, but through presence. The spirit of renewal will sweep across cities and countryside alike, calling people back to the heart of what matters: faith, hope, love, and righteousness. This revival will not look like the ones of the past. It will not be defined by emotion alone, but by transformation. It will not just fill buildings, it will fill communities. It will heal relationships, restore purpose, and ignite vision. It will awaken the conscience of a nation that has fallen asleep in comfort and compromise. And from the ashes of division, a new unity will rise, not the unity of political agreement, but the unity of spiritual alignment. For the shaking will do something beautiful. It will remind us of what cannot be shaken. When everything built on lies falls apart, what remains will be truth. When everything built on greed collapses, what remains will be generosity. When everything built on ego crumbles, what remains will be humility. When all the noise fades, what will remain is the quiet voice of God calling His people home. The test ahead will be unlike anything America has known. It will test the heart of the people, not just the strength of the economy. It will test integrity, not just influence. It will test faith, not just fortune. And in that testing, the real America, the moral America, the spiritual America, the compassionate America will rise again. For too long, the soul of this nation has been buried beneath the noise of culture, the greed of corporations, and the distractions of comfort. But a shaking is coming to uncover it, to remind the people of their spiritual DNA, to restore the heartbeat that once made them a light to the world. This revival will not be led by famous names, but by faithful hearts. It will not depend on stage lights, but on inner light. It will not come from platforms, but from prayer closets. It will not be marketed. It will be manifested. The Spirit of God will move through the broken, the forgotten, the overlooked, and the humble. Those who once felt voiceless will become the very voices of awakening. And though the enemy will try to twist this moment into fear, he will fail because what is born of truth cannot be corrupted by lies. The revival will rise through opposition, through persecution, through misunderstanding, and every attempt to silence it will only make it grow stronger. Because truth is like a flame. The more the wind blows against it, the higher it burns. America's future will not be written by the forces that seek to divide her, but by the faith that still burns within her. When the shaking ends, the nation that stands will not be the same. It will be better. It will be humbler, wiser, and holier. The shaking will not destroy her soul. It will define it. Because revival doesn't begin when everything is right. It begins when everything is wrong, and people finally turn back to what's right. The greatest revivals in history came after moments of chaos, confusion, and moral collapse. Why? Because that's when people realize that human strength is not enough. They need something higher, something eternal. And that realization is the birthplace of revival. So take heart. Don't let fear blind you to the bigger picture. The storm that's coming is not meant to bury America. It's meant to bless her. The shaking is not punishment. It's preparation. The test ahead is not destruction. It's destiny. The world may say America's best days are behind her, but heaven says her brightest days are yet to come. Because a nation that still has people who pray, people who believe, people who love truth and stand for what's right. That nation is never finished. Yes, the shaking will come, but so will the rising. The same fire that tests will also transform. The same storm that breaks will also build. The same shaking that exposes will also empower. And out of it all, America's greatest revival will rise stronger, purer, and freer than ever before. So stand firm, stand faithful, stand fearless, because what's coming will not destroy you, it will define you. It will prove once again that no matter how dark the night becomes, the dawn always comes.